Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing a Mysterious House book recommendation list. Okay, so this is actually one of the reading prompts for my readathon, the Not So Scaryathon, which will be happening very soon. It is running September 26th through October 9th. It's a 2-week readathon. It is not a slasher thriller type of readathon. You can read that if you want, but it's going to be all the fall Halloween reads that are not so scary. So be sure and check out my announcement video as well as all the other videos related up in the cards for you guys. And this is going to be my recommendation list for the reading prompt, A Mysterious House. I am going to apologize. I was hoping to do a couple more recommendations list for the readathon specifically, but I just didn't have time with what I'm planning for during the readathon. So you're just getting this one for now, but you'll get my TBR here in a couple days as well. And then we'll start the readathon and a bunch of other videos are coming. So for this reading prompt, you can kind of use a broad range of things. You can even use a mysterious boarding school, castle, mansion, all that kind of stuff. I love a good slightly spooky, maybe haunted, if it's not too scary, house type of book. So these are some of the ones that I'm going to recommend as an option. Some of the books I own, some I don't, so some I'll be holding up and some I'll just have pictures for you. House of Furies by Madeleine Roux. So this one looks a lot scarier than it is. It's not actually that scary. It's a Victorian Gothic style read. I want to say it's around the 1800s, but I'm not entirely sure. The main character in this book is down on her luck. She's basically not doing well and she kind of cheats people out of money by pretending to tell their fortunes, and she meets this little old lady that's like, you should come work at this house. And so she comes and it's basically going to be a maid at this big manor. And when she gets there, she meets everyone. Everyone seems really nice, but there's kind of this air of mystery around it. So she's kind of uncovering the secrets that the house holds about the people and especially about the man that runs it. So I love this book. Characters are wonderful. The plot is very cool. We've got some paranormal slight elements in here. There are some fae in here. It's very, very mysterious and cool, but not scary. It is a dark read, but it's not a scary read, if that makes sense. And it's young adult as well, so it's more mild with everything, which is I like to read young adult and middle grade at this time of the year. It's a full trilogy. I loved them all. I think it's one of the most highly underrated young adult series that's not talked about enough. Madeleine Roux is a very well-known author as well. So definitely add this one to your list. The audiobook's short and really good, and the physical book is absolutely beautiful. It has all these beautiful art things hidden kind of throughout the book, different style of pages. It's so pretty, so cool. Definitely seems a lot scarier than it actually is, and I'm so glad that I picked it up. Okay, now for one that is on the scarier side, but for those of you that kind of like to push it, I buddy read The Dead House with a friend of mine a couple years ago. This is by Dawn Katurgic, and the reason I read this one and kind of pushed myself outside of my boundaries is because it is multi-formatted. I wish I had it to hold it up for you guys. There are journal entries, photos, drawings, a lot more than House of Furies. Every page is like that, kind of like Illuminate, kind of like Night Film. Was really visually fun to read. It doesn't technically even have chapters because you're just constantly getting a new journal entry or a new photo. So it's very easy to binge read. It looks like a big book, but because it's mostly photos and things, you're going through it really fast. So this is kind of a part psychological thriller and a part urban legend. So you also have an unreliable narrator, which I do really enjoy. So 25 years ago, Elmbridge High School burned down. 5 people were killed and 1 pupil, Carly Johnson, disappeared. Now a diary has been found in the ruins of the school. The diary belongs to Caitlin Johnson, Carly's identical twin sister, but Carly doesn't have a twin. Reopened police records, psychiatrist reports, transcripts of video footage, and fragments of diary reveal a web of deceit and intrigue, violence and murder, raising a whole lot more questions than answers. Who was Caitlin and why did she only appear at night? Did she really exist or was she a figment of a disturbed mind? You're following Caitlin and she believes that Carly kind of takes over her body at night and there are 2 different people, so you're trying to figure out whether she's crazy or whether there's something paranormal happening. I did really enjoy the read overall. It's a lot darker as far as mentally than I prefer. When I like dark books, I like them to be a vampire killed your mom or a zombie is attacking your village, not necessarily murders and like depression and things like that. So it did kind of push those boundaries for me, but it's still young adult, so it was doable and it was really interesting to read, and it was kind of like a good fast-paced read as well. So it is on this list. While it's not set in an actual house, it's kind of following the school and the different layouts of the school, so it'll count. Okay, then for one I read for Mermaid Marathon is In the Shadow of Spindrift House. This is a very short like novella style book by Mira Grant, and there's this house in this little seaside town. It's filled with mystery. People say that it's haunted, and this group of kids go to investigate this house, and they're allowed to like investigate it and see if there's ghosts there. They just aren't allowed to leave over like a 48-hour period, and our main character has a connection to the house that she doesn't really know, so she's kind of uncovering that. I enjoyed this like for the most part, but as a lot of novellas go, it didn't have the best ending for me. It left things kind of open-ended, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but I still think it's a good one to check out because it's only like a 4-hour audiobook or in a very short novella to read, and it's really interesting and has slight seasidey, mermaidy almost vibes about it. For a middle grade recommendation, we've got The House with a Clock in Its Walls. This one is a full-on spooky, mysterious house. We've got a young boy that goes to live with his uncle in just this mysterious house, and he's kind of uncovering all the quirky things about the house and his uncle. There's lots of like magical things that happen and different things that the house can do, and it's really fun. I really enjoyed reading this book last year for Not So Scary-a-thon. I also enjoyed watching the movie, which has like Jack Black and a bunch of other famous people in it. Highly recommend. It's a really good one for Halloween season, especially. It's just got all of the fall Halloween vibe, and again, it's not like a scary read. Then we have Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. So this is actually a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but our main character is basically trained her whole life to go and kill this man that comes and like takes girls every like 10 years or something to live with him, and then they never return and they don't know what happens to them. So our main character has been like trained to basically assassinate him. Like they think that she will be chosen, or they're going to present her to him, and then she plans on killing him. So it's like a twist on a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's set in like its own world, and it's got an old-fashioned vibe about it. So she basically goes to meet this man. He might be like a prince, or I think they call him a demon, I'm not really sure. And you're kind of uncovering all of his mysteries and the mysteries of the house, because she's not allowed to go in certain rooms and things. And it's definitely not a like scary or even really that creepy. It's just very mysterious, and I think it would be a good one for fall. The narrator for this audiobook is absolutely incredible. She's so like lush and soft spoken, but like not boring at the same time. Love. Another middle grade read is Coraline, of course. So this will also work for the Spooky Retelling Challenge if you want to combine things, because it is a Alice in Wonderland retelling loosely. So we have Coraline, and she moves to a new house, and the house has all of these secrets that she has to uncover and find out, and all these kind of like creepy, spooky things. This is a slightly creepier middle grade than what you might expect. I love Neil Gaiman though. The audiobook for this is a little creepy too, because there's like little voices and things that happen, but it is still a middle grade book. The movie's interesting. I don't like it as much as I do like the book, but this would be a great one for the readathon, because again, those middle grades are really quick to get through as well. Then we have the Spiderwick Chronicles by Tony Ditterlizzi and Holly Black. So this again is a very short middle grade series, but all the books are really short. There's the Grace children, and we have twins Simon and Jared and their older sister Mallory. And after they move into the Spiderwick estate, they discover a world of fairies that they never knew existed. And so the house kind of has all these secrets about the fairies, and they kind of uncover all these things. And I think that their dad has passed away, and they might have found his journal or something like that. But this is such a great mysterious house read. I enjoyed all the books. I really liked the movie as well. And it's just, again, another fun, quick one to get through. Then we have The Slade House by David Mitchell. This is one I'm on the fence about. This was only a 3-star read for me, but I feel like it's kind of hit or miss, so some people will like really love it. Again, it was kind of like Spindrift House, where it was kind of open-ended and left to the imagination, which I don't always love. But it's a super short, quick read. This is adult though, so it does have adult themes. So down the road from a working class British pub along the brick wall of a narrow alley, if the conditions are exactly right, you'll find the entrance to Slade House. A stranger will greet you by name and invite you inside. At first you won't want to leave, later you'll find out that you can't. And every 9 years, the house's residents, an odd brother and sister, extend a unique invitation to someone who's different or lonely. A precocious teenager, a recently divorced policeman, a shy college student. But what really goes on in Slade House? For those who find out, it's already too late. So I do love the mystery of this. I just wish the ending was tied up a little bit better. But again, another quick one for the readathon, and if you're wanting an adult book that's got a slightly spookier vibe, but really just more mysterious, might be one to check out. Okay, then we have one of my very favorites, Night Film by Marisha Pessl. So with this one, again, I read it because we've got all the different like formats, video footage, journal entries, photos, internet pages, all kinds of things like that. Not quite as much as Dead House or Illuminae, but there's a bunch in here. This one I read so quickly. It's like 500 pages, but it's got so many things happening. This is an adult novel. This is a contemporary thriller, which I don't always love, but I so enjoyed this. It was so mysterious, not scary. It is more of a murder mystery. So on a damp October night, a beautiful young Ashley Cordova is found dead in an abandoned warehouse in Manhattan. Though her death is ruled a suicide, investigative journalist Scott McGrath suspects otherwise. He probes the strange circumstances surrounding Ashley's life and death. McGrath comes face to face with the legacy of her father, the legendary reclusive cult horror film director Stanislas Cordova, a man who hasn't been seen in public for more than 30 years. So basically this investigator has always had curiosities and interests in Cordova and his filmmaking. He makes these cult horror films. There's all this mystery and like rumors that things that happen in the films are real and people actually die, and you never really know because he films them all on his estate, and people are meant to like keep the secrets. So he goes around like interviewing people that have worked with him to kind of see if maybe his daughter was like murdered by him or somebody that works for him. And you're just uncovering all these things about the estate and the director himself. It's so interesting. It's so good. The ending again is left a little bit open, but I really, really enjoyed it. I love Marisha Pessl. I'm going to talk about her other book here in a second. Big mansion that this Hollywood director lives in is really cool as well, so highly recommend. Also by Marisha Pessl, but this is a young adult one, is Neverworld Wake. Okay, so once upon a time at Darrow Harker School, Beatrice Hartley and her 5 best friends were the cool kids, the beautiful ones. Then the shocking death of Jim, their creative genius and Beatrice's boyfriend, changes everything. A year after graduation, Beatrice is returning to Wincroft, the seaside estate where they spent so many nights sharing secrets, crushes, plans to change the world, hoping she'll get to the bottom of some dark questions. But as the night plays out in a haze of stilted jokes and unfathomable silence, Beatrice senses she's never going to find out what really happened. Then a mysterious man knocks at the door. Blithely, he announces the impossible. Time for them has stuck, snagged on a splinter that can only be removed if the former friends make the harshest of decisions. Now Beatrice has one last shot at answers and at a life, and so begins the Neverworld Wake. So we have a time loop, and so the day kind of starts over and they have to make different choices to try and get out of this time loop. It's definitely not scary, but it has like a creepy vibe about it. It was done so well. It ended amazing. I absolutely loved it. I really want to reread it, and it's also on the shorter side. It's just beautiful. I want to read all of her books because her writing is so good. So it's set all at this manor that the kids all meet at, so it's perfect for this category. Then we have House of Salt and Sorrows. Again, this will work for that spooky retelling category as well because it is a 12 dancing princess retelling. So there's a manor by the sea and 12 sisters are cursed. Annalie lives a sheltered life at High Moor, a manor by the sea where her sisters, their father, and stepmother live. Once there were 12, but loneliness fills the Grand Hollows now that 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short. Each death more tragic than the last. The plague, a plummeting fall, a drowning, and a slippery plunge. And there are whispers throughout the surrounding villages that the family is cursed by the gods. Disturbed by a series of ghostly visions, Annalie becomes increasingly suspicious that the deaths were no accident. Her sisters have been sneaking out every night to attend a glittering ball and dancing until dawn in silken gowns and shimmering slippers, and Annalie isn't sure whether to try and stop them or to join them on their forbidden trysts. Because who or what are they really dancing with? It is beautiful. Again, not scary, slightly creepy, mysterious, set in this mansion. 12 Dancing Princesses, one of my favorite fairy tales ever, and the retellings are always amazing, and this is one of the best ones. All right, then we have Lock and Key. So this is actually a graphic novel, and I read the first one. I'm getting ready to read the rest. I'm reading this because I watched the first season of the show and really enjoyed it, and I didn't know that it was a graphic novel. So this graphic novel is actually by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. It's a young adult graphic novel. So Lock and Key tells of Key House, an unlikely New England mansion with fantastic doors that transform all who dare to walk through them. Home to a hate-filled and relentless creature, will not rest until it forces open the most terrible door of them all. So we have these 3 kids, and their dad is murdered, and they basically move back to like his family home, and they have to uncover all these secrets about his past and the house, and there's all these keys that do different things. It's very magical. It is on the darker side as far as there's like some brutal murders and things, especially in the graphic novel. It's a lot darker than the TV show, but I so enjoyed the first season of the show, and I plan on watching the next here pretty soon, and it's absolutely perfect for this category because the house is just filled with secrets. Okay, and then lastly I want to talk about Gilded by Marissa Meyer, which is a newish young adult fantasy book. This one came out last year, the next one comes out in November, so now's a good time to read it. This again is a loose Rumpelstiltskin retelling, so it'll work for double categories if you want. So long ago, cursed by the god of lies, poor Miller's daughter has developed a talent for spinning stories that are fantastical, spellbinding, and utterly untrue. Or so everyone believes. When one of Serelda's outlandish tales draws the attention of the sinister Earl King and his undead hunters, she finds herself swept away into the grim world where ghouls and phantoms prowl the earth and hollow-eyed ravens track her every move. The king orders Serelda to complete the impossible task of spinning straw into gold or be killed by telling falsehoods. In desperation, Serelda unwittingly summons a mysterious boy to her aid, and he agrees to help her for a price. Basically, she's like telling people that she can spin straw into gold, and this like king that lives in this mansion finds out, and he takes her and he's like, fine, spin me straw into gold or die. And all this mysterious stuff happens. There's a lot of magic and things in here. It is a longer book, so not the best for the readathon, but it's really good. Marissa Meyer is my favorite author. I can't wait for the next book to come out because the ending in particular of this book was crazy. So I'm really excited for it, and it definitely has this like creepy, almost haunted mansion type of vibe. Okay, you guys, that was a long list. I hope you enjoyed all these recommendations. Let me know which one sounds the most appealing to you, or if you plan on reading any of them for the readathon or even for the fall season. These are some of the best, a couple not my favorite, but still worth reading. And stay tuned for lots of videos coming out during the readathon as well. Don't forget to follow me at The Bright Side Girl on Instagram and check out that hashtag for Not So Scaryathon. And I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.